and that sometimes takes a few moments to sort of say, oh, we're live streaming. We're live. Yes, indeed. It's a little bit noisy there from M. Boyer. I wonder if you might want to mute yourself. Yeah, excellent. Just when you're, feel free to unmute in order to speak, obviously. But yeah, if you've got a background noise. Yeah, so it's the local support meeting. What has been going on with local support? I did actually do some local support stuff while I was away. We've got the new functionality to submit volunteer opportunities to the Do It system, as a third-party system, is kind of working, and I've actually submitted one from our local local support instance. So that's very pleasing. We've got the kind of key things today are, I guess, like we'll review the board, see where we are with everything. I think the main issue for the moment with local support is we've got this wonderful new map and list integrated functionality from Elena, which we kind of deployed, and then it has a problem when, oh god, it runs into some JavaScript performance issue, and that's kind of blocking getting everything else done, or at least deploying everything else at the moment. So that's kind of the key issue. We've got you know, the Do It folks are giving us more information, and yeah, I'm kind of excited about, you know, getting integrated there. So we'll see. The client is away on annual leave for another week or so. So yeah, that's where we are. So we've got yeah. Does anybody have any local support business things that they'd like to bring up for this meeting that we should make sure we cover?
Nope, I'm good. All
right, there we go. Well, let's go on to screen share and take a little look at the board. And by the board, I mean the Trivial Tracker. Where's my screen share gone? Also, note I am mildly jet lagged, and I've had a nasty chest infection for the last week. Just about gone, but I'm still coughing and wheezing occasionally. Yeah, so we've got this thing here. We've got this posting the volunteer ops to Do It via the API key. For those of you who don't know, Do It is a UK national organisation that has sort of maintains a big list of all volunteering opportunities all around the country, and yeah, we have varying degrees of integration with them within the Harrow Community Network system that runs on local support, our Rails project. Yeah, so when we load that there, we go straight to our list of volunteers, and we have a subset of these. This is the red ones. They are volunteer things that are in, should open a new page, there we go. Yeah, within the Do It network. At the moment, we just pull in, we've got like a once daily scheduled system that pulls in that data and adds it to there. I thought I think we've got little interface issues there that I think have been fixed, but we can't roll out because of that problem I mentioned earlier. So yeah, so this is like, we've now got potentially the ability to post a volunteer op, like, you know, when we actually create it, we can actually create it on this side and post it across, which is lovely. It only works for admins, and it's not working there on the main site at the moment anyway. But yeah, so that's kind of a bit of a good, nice step forward in terms of that integration. We have had various people working on the this events system. I guess we don't have Stella or Cess with us today. We've got one other anonymous person. Fernando. Greetings, Fernando. Hi, how are you doing? Yeah, we were chatting, weren't we, recently in the channel there. Great to have you with us. Seems like maybe your audio might not be working. Do feel free to use, there's a text chat environment on the left. You can do open and close chat with the second button down, or as a backup, if you've got the local support chat, you can also use that. I'm just going to see. And we've got Brent, and we've got Fernando, and Boya, who's not even in the meeting today. Okay, just make sure that you're all in the channel there. We'll invite Boyer in. Okay. Right. So, I mean, I guess there's no one here from the event sides of things. Yeah, so this is our big challenge, is we've got this, this problem with the map. So I think kind of the main thing to do today is, have we already voted on, have we got somewhere in here, we should have the bug report related to that. There we go. Yeah, popping up many items from the list to the map may cause a problem. Yeah, this is the one, and I did also, I think, replicate that locally as well. So we've already voted on that. Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's kind of the main thing. I was just thinking, is there anything that we need to vote on today? We've certainly got plenty of items in the backlog. I don't know that we necessarily need to have any voting. I would have insisted we voted on this one if it wasn't already voted on, but there we go. Yeah, we'll just finish going through the other items here. So the including list of the map has this bug that we really need fixed. We've got a whole lot of, that's all, they're all kind of ready to be done. Finish, yeah, I managed to make that the head fork, that's done. Yeah, I think that's listing feedback form. Yeah, lots of stuff ready to deliver and hopefully show to the client once we've got this bug out of the way. Marilyn is currently working on handling the situation. So the funny thing here is if we can actually submit the volunteer to do it from our site, it then gets kind of pulled back in through the daily batch job, and we need to make sure that it doesn't get double listed. Yeah, so I don't know that we necessarily need to vote on anything, but is anybody interested in taking on any of these little things that we've got in the backlog? I guess since we've got a few people here, does everybody understand how the this pivotal tracker board works for the project?
It would be useful to myself if you just gave a bit of an overview.
So, certainly, yeah. So we've got this.
And also, how do I get access to this? Do I need to request access?
You do, and I would love to make it just people sign up. But yeah, if you I just need to know, have you used Pivotal Tracker before? Have you ever signed up for Pivotal Tracker?
Ooh, I might have done a long time ago. Yes,
right.
I'll check.
Yeah, if you just but don't worry too much because we'll create new accounts. If you DM me the email that you would like to be invited to this in, and save this for everybody else, then I can make sure that you have access to it. It is we have it, public, as in Agile Ventures. Our public projects are kind of open development, so it should all be visible to everybody everywhere, independently of having an account. But if you want to start being able to create new things and update the statuses of the tickets, then you do need to have an account. I'll just pop the this is our combat link. This is our pivotal tracker for the project. So yeah, and so we run this sort of Kanban style thing. We've got these iterations. We don't really pay too much attention to that, as people come and go on the project, and our work rate in one period is not necessarily indicative of the work rate or the number of people who'll be putting in time in another work period. Although we might well, going forward, try and get back into a stronger rhythm of particular sprints, and saying, right, what are we doing this sprint? What's the focus this sprint? But the key thing, independently of any concept of sprint or timeline, is that at any given moment there are things in the current iteration box. And so these are things here in this left-hand panel that are currently being worked on, or are waiting to be delivered to the client, or are waiting to be accepted or rejected by the client. So in general, if there's something in here, you wouldn't start working on it or doing anything to it unless you're interacting with the person on it. So we might, for example, see here, we've got this automated posting to social media feeds, which for some reason I've clicked as started. I'm not sure why. I probably clicked as started because somebody else started it. Yeah. But so what you'll usually be looking for is who's the requester and who's the owner in here. I see that we have a is FDEL. Will he appear there? No. And this is, I think I've kind of clicked it for somebody who doesn't necessarily have access here, but that's I'm serving as the proxy. So if you are really interested in this feature, then in order to sort of coordinate as a team, rather than just working on it independently, you would say, "Oh, hey Sam, I see that you have got this ticket open. Would you be, I'm interested in this. Can I help? Is there anything that I need to do?" And then we would coordinate about that. You can see here I've put a note here. This is somebody else started this. Somebody who hasn't been able to attend meetings, and they have an open pull request. This is this one, FDEL. I should know. I think it's Frank is his name. And so he started working on this thing, and he's a bit stuck on how to use WebMock and so on that. So that's a little bit of a block there for him if everybody wants to reach out and give him a hand. But yeah, but otherwise, things in here you may not necessarily pay too much attention to. Certainly as a project team, if you want to be involved in the project, it's always good to be looking through the open pull requests and seeing what other people are doing, giving comments, trying to help people out. That's how the team coordinates. So this is like the current iteration. Then we have the backlog, and the backlog, the way we've broken this up is that all of the individual tickets, we've got bugs with a little bug symbol, chores with a little cog, and stars, which are features, and we have them all set up to be voted on as set as 1 point, 2 point, or 3 point. So you can kind of see there's like two little dots here. So this means this is a 2 point bug, which means it's more complex or more difficult than a 1 point bug, but not as bad as the 3 point bug. And so the backlog basically is there. You can take any item in the backlog and start working on it if you want to. They are arranged in terms of priority. So items at the top of the backlog are seen as higher priority, but we have a sort of volunteer team and people work on what interests them. We also have a client though who's keen that the items towards the top would get done quicker. So by selecting an item off the top of the list, that's helpful, but you don't have to. What I'd also recommend is even like you can see that some of these do they all have owners? Like some of them will not have owners, and in principle you can just, if you're a sign-in, you can click start and get started on them. It's always worth saying hello in local support channel and saying, are there any, I wanted to start work on this, anything I should be aware of, is this a good one for me to start on, and so on. You can see that in some cases, items on the backlog, people have said that they're interested in working on them, but it implies that they haven't started it yet. So for this one here, if you were keen to work on this, you could like reach out to Lokish and say, hey, did you start on that? Can we work on it together? Of course, we try and update these so that they're, it's up to date. The people, occasionally people will, say they want to work on something and they don't have time, or they get onto other stuff, so we need to remove them. I'm the project manager, and you can always coordinate with me on these things. So that's those items in there. Any questions on any of that so far?
No, that all makes sense to me.
Great. And then, so then we have the icebox, and these are all potential future things to work on, some of which may in the past have been voted on, but maybe it was a long time ago, so we don't really, and they were sort of low priority at the time. So the idea is that, in order to coordinate as a team, before you start working on anything, it needs to have been voted on, ideally fairly recently, and ideally you took part in the vote, although you may not have done. In the ideal world, we'd have these like things kind of decay, so that if stuff had been voted on like more than 4 or 5 weeks ago, it would like become unvoted on and move automatically back. But so the idea is the icebox is all stuff that we might work on in the future. It's not necessarily in any particular order, but kind of more recently created things are at the top. But so you might find things in here that you say, oh, I would be really interested in working with CoClimate Travis, or this like third-party sites thing, or what have you. If you see something in the icebox that interests you, and particularly if it's not voted on, or even if it is voted on, it probably should be re-voted on, then you can sort of propose that gets voted on, and then we can vote on it. And we can vote on it in a meeting like this, or we can vote on it like completely randomly. We have this asynchronous voting system. So you can just come to the local support channel, and if there's something, this is a great way to indicate that you might be interested in voting on something. you can just type this /voter, and then you can type the name of the thing. So say, for example, we've got this layout of volunteer alt form is crooked. It's definitely something we want to fix. So layout crooked on vol form. And then what we would do is we'd grab the link for that item there, like so. And then we would stick that in here. And then this would like start a little asynchronous vote in the channel that anybody, when they're coming through, can sort of vote on, and we can have a discussion about the thing. And then once it gets voted, you know, it can be moved over into the backlog and potentially started on. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, thanks.
Good show. We could even have a vote on something, but we might do that. I guess, is anybody looking for to be assigned a particular task at the moment?
So this is Brent. So I'm not familiar with Rails, but I'm quite familiar with JavaScript. So I'm happy, assuming I can get the code base set up over the weekend, as we discussed earlier. I'm happy to help work on the bug that we've got at the moment with the map.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds. Yeah, that's great. Well, go on.
No, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking what we might do is we could have, because this has been voted on a while ago, maybe we could have like a little revote on this one to explore this, and that would, you know, yeah, I think I'm going to propose that that's what we do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that down as unestimated. And so it's a bit of a, I mean, I think it's good practice. It's definitely the key thing that we need to fix at the moment. So I'm going to just go in here, and this is like JS bug in what's it called? It's map list integration. And let's grab the link for that. There we go. So I'll just start the vote on that in the channel. Assuming that all works. There you go. Woo! So we can see this little interface here. So you don't feel that you have to click immediately, but when one is ready, you can click on simple, medium, and hard, which correspond to 1, 2, and 3. We should really get the numbers written in there, actually. But first up, like, yeah, maybe let's have a quick look at the problem. I think we should see this even just on the develop branch. Excuse me, at the moment. We're just going to check out the develop branch. Some silly things in the way on my local copy of the system, and let's just make sure we've got up to date. It's a bit bigger. Okay. Okay, so let's get that running locally. So as we saw, we've got the site here. So at the moment in the site, we've got the map. There's no real relationship between the list and the map, other than the map kind of shows the elements that also appear in the list. And so actually I could also maybe see this on the developed one, on the staging server. We've got different servers for different branches. So which we haven't got SSH certificates for, or SSL or HTTPS or whatever they are. So now here, so you can see this sort of working here. Now we've got it set up. Great work by Elena is that when you mouse over the individual items, it centers the map on that item and it pops up the little element. So that's all very nice. And then, there we go. This happens. Yeah, basically you can see it kind of ends up kind of going a bit crashy. Let's have a look if we inspect and see what's happening in the console. Yeah, basically there's some, we're getting these maximum call stack size exceeded. So there's something about the way in which, this JavaScript that's, and you see that the system ends up in this kind of state. So there's something about, the way that this, the way that the JavaScript that coordinates the map and the list is kind of, I don't know, it's running out of, it's getting into an infinite regress there of nested calls. And I think the challenge is so for Elena, when she was developing it, was doing it with a relatively small number of items. and shows you maybe never experienced, having a large set like we have in the production data. Now I've got the production data pool, or some recent copy of it, locally on my machine, and I think we can replicate it there. But so we're moving towards like having a vote on this. I guess everybody understands the nature of the problem that we're describing here.
Yeah.
See if I can replicate this locally. Yeah. Not immediately occurring locally for me. I mean, it may be related to the resources of the platform that it's running on. Does anybody have any questions about this problem or this, or like how we would go about fixing this?
No, as long as we can replicate the error, then obviously we should be able to figure out what the situation is and what's causing the issue.
Indeed. So does anybody? We've got people making votes. I think, well, if everybody's ready to vote, you can go on and just press the button. We've got lots of people joining in there, more than actually in the group. So we've got at least 5. I guess there's 5 of us in here. So maybe anyway, I'll now go ahead and press reveal there, and we can see that we've all voted for medium, and that's perhaps could have been predicted because it was originally on a medium, but we've had a lovely demonstration there of how we do the voting. If we had some disagreement about that, that would have been an opportunity for a bit of discussion to make sure that we're all on the same page about how to address that issue there. Okay, so that's, and if we didn't have much in the backlog, in a meeting like this or at other times during the week, we would get more of these things in the ICEBOK voted. Every couple of weeks or so, I will meet with the client and talk about the prioritization of the backlog and check on the things that we've managed to deliver and so on in the direction of the projects. And those meetings get videoed, and people can watch the meetings with the client and hear the client saying thank you oh yes, I like that feature that you developed, and so on and forth. And that's how it all hooks up. We do the agile thing. We keep iterating. We keep on pushing out new features. We try and get stuff into the client's hands as quickly as possible, and see if we can actually have a positive impact on the work they're doing with charities in Northwest London.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, that's now. I guess I might not be able to assign you there to this, Brent, because I won't have been able to invite you yet. But as soon as I've got you all hooked up with this, I can make sure you get assigned there. And yeah, that will be that. Did anybody besides Brent want to hook themselves up with a particular aspect of the system, or have any other questions or concerns? Now I see there's a question there. Fernando's telling us that his mic's not working. Great to meet you too, Fernando. Yeah, do any other questions or thoughts, please do put them into the chat. And Boya is asking, once set up with the code base on the weekend, would love to help on some bugs. That would be fantastic. And Fernando also working on setting up the local environment. And yeah, apologies in advance for those of you that sometimes can be a pain. Yeah, we do have the local support install channel. If you have trouble, do join there. There's also some good discussion of different issues in the background. I think in the long term, for all of the Agile Venture projects, we want to make sure that they are as easy to install as possible. I have started having a discussion with C9 about creating an Agile Ventures template that would make it easier to install Agile Ventures projects there. Often it's the Postgre database or what have you. But yeah, as I was saying to Brent earlier today, to the extent that you're enjoying, grappling with the install process, then by all means have fun. But it's never too soon in my book to ask for help in local support install to help us get you set up with the system on your local machine. Okay, and Fernando is working on reinstalling Ruby on his machine. Just out of interest, Fernando and Mboya, what platforms are you on? I know Brent's on OS X. Michael and myself are both on OS X. Yeah, so Fernando also on OS X. And Mboya on something else we will see. Yeah, I personally am a big fan of RVM. I use RVM to manage the Ruby on my Mac OS, but I know some people prefer RBEMV. But yeah, there we go. And well, it's a great big Mac club. We're all on Macs. I think that bodes well for getting things installed eventually. Okay. Well, that's actually, we're kind of coming in pretty much on time. This is the meeting. I sometimes wonder about whether we should change the meeting time or day. You know, maybe it's too close to the what's called the Kent Beck Scrum, but it seems to have worked out pretty well today. You know, if you do have a preference for times that, you know, the meeting takes place, then we're all ears. Otherwise, yeah, I've just set up a repeating reminder in the local support channel to kind of give us advance warning of the meeting in the channel. But yeah, and the other thing to note is that you don't have to wait until the local support meeting on a Thursday in order to bring up local support related items. There are the Martin Fowler and Kent Beck scrums every day, Monday to Friday, and you can come and bring up issues there and get, you know, sort of immediate help and support and potentially pairing sessions depending upon people's availability just in any of those scrums. All right. Well, there we go. Well, I think that's the local support meeting. Did anybody have anything else that they wanted to bring up? I'm going to, in the background, I'm going to set up Brent's access to that pivotal tracker.
I was going to say that you grew your beard back while in Japan.
Well, that's only partly true in that I did not shave my beard off completely. What happened? Yeah, no, I did. I trimmed it. And then I went to Japan, and I thought, oh, it's going to be really hot, and I'm going to, you know, want to take it off completely. And then it actually was not that hot this year in Japan. And also, I forgot the attachment for my razory thing that helps me keep it at the right length. So I then, yeah, basically while I was in Japan, I did not. But it's not as long as it was before I went to Japan, and I am planning to trim it a little bit tomorrow. So
yeah, I wonder how you kept it that short in Japan. It's like 5 weeks or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was basically half this length when I went to Japan, and it's now, yeah, it's
growing very quickly.
No. Well, I was also a bit under the weather. We'll see. You know, now that I'm back in the UK, all this great UK beard nourishing food. I mean, the Japanese generally don't have beards, and maybe it's the diet. But who knows? Here we go. All right, so Brent, in the background, I have invited you to the project. Excuse me. And I will see if I can add you to the thingamabobs. My brain is starting to run down.
Probably need to set up my account first. I've received the email, so I'll just quickly.
I think you'll find yourself assigned.
Ah, excellent.
Excellent. That's all worked out and done very well. Great. Okay. Yeah. On the other thing in the background, yeah, I guess we've got the other thing I'm doing with local support is trying to see if we can host local support on the DRE servers. Yeah, and that's so there's an ongoing bit of infrastructure stuff that's going on in the background if people happen to be interested in that. But yeah, I think I've got to apparently go and create some AWS users, and then we will see if I'm going to be able to. The key thing at the moment, we've got this deploying, but I need to set a load of environment variables for it. We will see. All right, that's our meeting. Bye for now. Yeah, I'll be in the Martin Fowler and Kent Beck scrums tomorrow. It's a bank holiday on Monday in the UK, so might not be so much going on Monday. But otherwise, I'll see everybody in those meetings or next week.
All right.
Excellent. Thanks.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.